Morning, Sonder fam. Welcome to our Saturday morning weekly setup. For those of you who may not know, my name is Bailey Grady, and I will be your on camera facilitator today, which just means that I'll be popping on to kind of guide you through the different content and things that we have here. I am dialing in from a place called Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is just north of the Nashville area, about 15-20 minutes away without traffic. And definitely looking forward to getting set up for the week. A few little housekeeping and other things to go through before we get started. First of all, if you are new, if this is your first social or your first weekly social, welcome. Definitely let us know in the chat. We'd love to give you a little extra welcome. But also be sure that that chat is set to everyone. You'll notice that like your cameras are off, you're muted, you don't have to worry about any of that. So feel free to roll up in here in your jammies or whatever way you need to show up today. But the way that you will communicate with your fellow Sonder fam community is through that chat. So make sure that you have that set to everyone. Sometimes it will default to host and panelist. And when that happens, it will only go to myself and the amazing Maya, who is also here with me today. She'll be helping out in the chat, helping to answer questions and just kind of hang out with you all. Honestly, we like to hang out in the chat with you all as much as you like to hang out with each other. So if it says host and panelist, that will just go to myself and Maya. So make sure it's set to everyone so that you can share it with the entire group here. Because as most of you know, my favorite thing about a Sonder Social is that we get to all kind of be together in community in real time. So definitely make sure that you are taking advantage of that. Also, as we go through, as always, feel free to take screenshots, snap photos, and then also, if you would like to snap a photo of your pages once you get them done, we would love to see those as well. Either on Instagram, you can tag at Silk and Sonder, or in Sonder Club. So we will run through our community guidelines real quick. First and foremost, please be kind and courteous to yourself and to others. No promotion or spam, please. We're going to respect everyone's privacy here. And of course, no hate speech or bullying will be tolerated. We like to limit like repetitive product and accessory questions. We don't mind some chatter about it. We just don't want to get too far off task since the time here always goes by so fast. If you want to have some extended conversation around like stickers and pens and all the different amazing gadgets and things you guys pick out and use for your journals, Sonder Club is a great place for that. If there's anything that myself or Maya cannot assist with, we may redirect you over to the team at headquarters at hello@silkandsonder.com. If we can't help, they should be able to. They are tiny but mighty, so just give them a few days to get back to you. And then finally, Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community. That's all of you. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for your own emotions, well being, and decisions. And so, what that means is that you just need to make sure that you are taking time for yourself today, whatever it is that you may need, whatever current headspace you're in right now, and what you need to call in. We want you to take that, even if that means maybe stepping away, or even if it means like joining late or leaving early, like that's totally fine. If we start to get into something that brings up some uncomfortable feelings and you're ready to engage with those, awesome. We're here to support you through that. But if it's bringing up some unexpected feelings, sometimes sometimes those emotions can catch us off guard and surprise us. If that happens to you today and you're not in a space where you feel available to engage with that, it's also totally fine to skip it, take a break, come back to it some other time. Just jam out, listen to the music, hang out in the chat, or don't be totally focused with yourself and in your journal. Again, whatever it is that you need from this time together today, that's what we want you to do. So continuing in our little community corner, if you haven't heard, they're still doing the 14-day free trial of the personalized coaching platform. If you haven't tried it yet, obviously the 14 free day trial is a great way to start and just see what all is in there. I think one of my favorite parts was all the personality assessments and things, and you have to do that to like get started anyway. So that's pretty cool that you'll get that right off the bat. For those of you that are already doing personalized coaching through Silk and Sonder, there's some upcoming new features that are headed your way. There's like some different personalized exercises and prompts coming through that are going to lean a little bit more into those personality assessments and things. So definitely keep an eye out for those coming around the corner. Also, if you haven't seen, you should be able to update your Wheel of Life now. I actually just updated mine last night. So if you go into like your personality section of the plans, you may have to hit the little like hamburger menu to get in there, and scroll down to where the Wheel of Life is. Underneath there, you should be able to update that if you need to, which will also update that emotional health score. There's also text to speech journaling prompts now. Obviously, we're a big fan of pen to paper here at Silk and Sonder. But I know myself personally, like sometimes I do like, I don't know, maybe this is weird. You guys could tell me. Sometimes I'll talk things out to myself, like in the car or in the shower, and this kind of gives you a way to do that with your coach as well. If you're in a place where you can't put pen to paper or you've got thoughts running through your head, but you need to kind of like multitask. Thank you, Radhika. Thank you. I'm not alone. Then this could kind of like help you do that with your coach. So it's nice to have that other option there. There is another exclusive event for any of you all that would like to sign up. Because it's an exclusive, there is a small cost to join, but Jennifer O is going to be hosting this. I already know it's going to be magical, and she's going to be talking about rewriting your fairy tale life. What if your life wasn't something to fix, but a story waiting to be rewritten? And you know that Jennifer O is always really good about coming at things with positivity, but also being realistic. So I think that'll be a great one to attend. And finally, there are all kinds of stuff always being put through into the Sonder Club app as well. If you're not on there already, definitely check it out. Definitely make sure you're going into that content library. I know I forget to go in there a lot because I just kind of like to hang out in like the I don't know what it's called, like the message board area where we all like post stuff. But if you go into the actual content library in there, there's all these mini meditations, there's extra daily rituals, all kinds of different things in there. And also, if you're not already following Silk and Sonder on Instagram, definitely do that as well. If you are on Instagram, they post all kinds of cool, fun things all the time. They posted this fun little crown based on your zodiac sign, I think is like a little teaser for the fairy tale exclusive. And then I like these simple ways to reduce stress in the summer. So they're always posting good stuff over there. So if you're already on Instagram, why not have a little bit of self-care in your feed? So without further ado, we're going to hop into the meat and potatoes of our activities today. So first up on our agenda is our enchantment mind map. For those of you who may not know, the mind map is a event, or I guess not an event, an activity, that's the word I'm looking for, exclusive to our weekly setups where we have a prompt that is focused in on our monthly theme. So we'll do that first. Then we'll do our rosebud thorn exercise where we reflect on last week before we get into our weekly setup and get ready for the week ahead. So our theme this month, as I hope you now know, because we are 9 days into August already, if you can believe that, is enchantment. And when I was flipping through my journal and, getting ready for the weekly setup, I came across this quote in the center that says, enchantment is not about escaping reality. It is about embracing the wonder within, seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary, and finding the beauty that lies in the spaces between. And I just love that. If you all were here for my weekly setup last week, you all know that I was kind of like really looking forward to this theme, but not in the typical sense of like, ooh, I'm excited, but more like, ooh, this feels hard right now for me. And so, like, I'm looking forward to this because I think I need some enchantment in my life. I think I've been in like a season of stress for a little while, and enchantment should be something that's like right up my alley. Like, I'm a very fun and like whimsical person. I love to like think about little tiny things and focus on small things and slow down on all of that stuff, but I haven't been getting to do that lately. And so instead of this feeling like exciting when it came up, it felt like, oh gosh, I don't know if I can do enchantment right now, right? But I paused, I checked in with myself, and I was like, that is all the more reason that you need this theme, that you need to be able to like peel back and focus and kind of get back to those parts of yourself. So if you've also been struggling with like, ooh, I don't feel like this is coming at the right time for me, or like this feels hard, I hear you, I feel you, like I'm right there with you. But what I have started doing for myself is using that enchantment log in the journal and just noticing like really tiny things. Like I made a post in Sonner Club the other day about like some random birds I saw in my commute, and like our crepe myrtle in our front yard bloomed for the first time in like 5 years, I swear. And so like just these tiny little things that are always there, but I'm just like too busy passing by whatever to notice them and trying to slow down, notice, and really like enjoy the fact that like sometimes the randomness of life really is just magical if we just take a little bit of time to like reflect on it. So I'm looking forward to it. I think as time goes on, I'm going to get more and more into it and more excited about it. And I hope that all of us will have that same experience. So we're going to get into our enchantment mind map. So you can do this on a blank page or space within your journal. If you plan to do all of the mind map prompts this month, then you may want to just pick a whole page. I always just pick the one in the very back of my journal. But over the next several weeks, we're going to guide you through a series of journaling reflections designed to help you map the enchantment in your world and explore the people, places, objects, memories, and quiet moments that awaken something sacred, spark joy, or simply make you pause and smile. So this week, we are looking at things that spark awe or delight. So our prompt is, what heirloom sensory object or even smells or sounds feel like little bursts of wonder? Is it a piece of music, a stone to keep on your desk, or the smell of lavender, freshly baked bread, or old books? What do these awaken in you, and what memory or emotion do they carry? So don't worry, I will hop back to that page in just a moment. And the prompt is there in the bottom left as well if you need it. But the piece of music is really what like spoke to me in this. I was having trouble. I feel like there's so many scents that like bring up memories for me. Scent is a huge thing, and objects and little things. But that like line about is it a piece of music really like spoke to me. And so what immediately came to my brain was like the Phantom of the Opera original Broadway cast soundtrack. It was my first love of theater, and I literally couldn't get enough of it when I was exposed to it. I was like in late middle school, and it just makes me think of that time, and it makes me think of my dad because he's the one who introduced me to it, but also an amazing English teacher that I had, Miss Minor. Um, who like was also really into Phantom and she loved that I was into it, and we used to like talk about it, and she went to like one of those little library like flash sale things where like they'll get rid of older books, and she found like the actual Phantom of the Opera book. If you don't know, there is actually a book. And it was a little difficult for a seventh grade read, I'm not gonna lie, but I was like committed. I was like, I am reading this book, I'm pushing through, I'm doing it. Yes, the book is very, it's a little different. It is intense. Nicole is correct. But I was just like so immersed and like couldn't get enough of it. And yeah, I just think that all of that takes me back to like a memory and time of like really strong connection and just community and like unexpected places, right? Like my English teacher was definitely in her like late 40s, early 50s, right? And here I am, this kid, I was like 13, but we were like bonding over this like this love of Phantom, and it just I think taught me that you can really find connection with anybody if you're just willing to like share a little bit and listen and encourage them in the things that are important to them. So it's kind of interesting that like that those bits of music, those songs like take me right back to that time in my life, but also it kind of was probably like a core pillar of who I am and my personality, kind of going through that experience with that and getting to connect with multiple people over it. So that's what came up for me. But definitely take some time to think about what's coming up for you. I love that like we're being called in to think about like a specific, more tangible thing, right? Like a scent you can't really hold, but it's like it's usually tied to something, right? Like lavender makes you think of candles or maybe actual lavender or flowers or self-care. Freshly baked bread may remind you of like memories of baking with a family member. Like this is such a cool prompt to call in enchantment and see what else it can connect to. So I'm going to give you all some time to think about this. If you feel comfortable sharing in the chat, we would love to see what is coming up for you. And then we'll move into our next activity together. Thank you all for spending some time with this. If you are still sharing, please finish your thought, hit send, go ahead and put it in the chat. No need to stop on my account. I really appreciated getting to see all the things that are coming through the chat. It's just, I think this is such a great prompt. And I love like what it brought up for me and what it's bringing up for all of you. So thank you so much for sharing. We are now going to complete our rosebud thorn exercise. So if you are in your journal, it should be on got a few pages to flip through here. 36. It's page 36 in the actual journal. But you can do a rosebud thorn exercise anytime that you need to, anytime you need to call in some balance. It's a good thing to do if you feel like you're spiraling too hard one way or the other. So a rose is a highlight, something that went well, thinking about last week, last 7 days, maybe something that made you smile, or maybe it's something that brought some extra enchantment, right? A bud is what could bloom, something ahead on the horizon, something coming up. It could be something you're excited about, something you're nervous about, maybe a little bit of both. If you're like me, new things are always a little nervous. And then a thorn, something that maybe didn't go so well that you could use some support with. So I always like to do mine in reverse. So my thorn is that I had some really severe shoulder pain Thursday. I actually had to like leave work in the middle of the day, run out to the chiropractor. And I'm so glad that I did because it's feeling a lot better now. I had like my ribs and my collarbone were doing something funky and it threw everything out of whack. But it just, it was not enjoyable to say the least, but it also just totally threw a wrench in my whole plans for the day, the week, everything, because it was unexpected. So that was my thorn. My bud is that in a couple of weeks, I will be going with a group of friends to the Outer Banks, and I'm very excited. Some of the friends that are coming moved to Maine like a year or so ago, and so it's like 12 hours away for us, but it's also 12 hours like away for them. So it's kind of like we're meeting halfway, except not. But it's gonna be so good to spend time with them. This was like our core group during COVID that we like, got together with virtually every week and played like games. And so it's gonna be nice to get everybody all back together in person. But I've never traveled with like almost all of these people before. This is a new experience. So hopefully it all goes well. I'm sure it will. And then my rose is that I finally figured out the formulas I need for this spreadsheet that has been ruining my day every day for the last 6 months at work. And if you have ever had to do this with a spreadsheet, I know that you understand my victory. I I finally cracked the code and I am so excited because my whole life is about to get so much easier now. So that is definitely my rose. It's gonna alleviate a lot of stress, give me back at least like 4 hours of my week every week. So yes, big win for sure. So I'll put on some music for you to think about your roses, buds, and thorns. And as always, if you feel comfortable sharing in the chat what those are, we would love to hear from you before we head into our next section. Thank you all for taking some time with this. Like I said before, if you're still typing, if you're still sharing, please feel free to do so. This is one of my favorite parts about getting together for socials because we kind of get a peek into what's going on into each other's lives. And I just have to say, like, you all are just the most amazing group of people. Like I say it all the time that we have the best community, but I feel like it really shines the more that we share. So thank you all so much for sharing. We're going to hop into our main event now, which is our weekly setup, and we are on pages 40 and 41 this week. So we will be going through each one of these sections holistically, one at a time, but we're going to start on page 40 with a section titled How I Want to Feel. So most of you know, if you've been to a social with me before, I always call in my word of the year here in some way, and that word of the year for me is serenity. So I want to create space for serenity by not overcommitting or overextending this week. That is my goal. Hopefully, I am stepping into a season of reduced stress now, but I also have a very busy week ahead, and so I don't want to create a new stress bubble by doing too much. There are some other word opportunities there in the word cloud for you that may strike a chord with how you want to feel. And don't worry, I'll hop back and forth between all of these slides when I put the music on. But we also have all of these amazing examples from Sonder Club. I've pulled some new examples this morning, but I didn't get a chance to add them in yet. But I'm looking forward to adding them in for next time for you all. But these are still all really great examples, and you can see that you do not have to just land on a word. It could be a phrase, a quote, multiple words, whatever it is that you need to call in. So I'll put on a quick song for you all to think about how you want to feel as you move through this week ahead, and then we will head into our next section together. All right. If you haven't been able to identify your feeling yet, don't panic. Sometimes this actually ends up being the last thing I have to fill in. Sometimes I can't figure out how I want to feel until I figure out what the heck is even going on in my week. So it is okay if you haven't landed on something yet. It'll come to you. We are now going to hop into the center of that same page, looking at our weekly to-dos and major weekly 3 goals. I can't ever say this. I've been doing this for years, y'all, and I can't ever say weekly major 3 goals. I always combine those words into something else. So thank you for always bearing with me. But for the weekly major 3 goals, I don't do goals anymore. I use the weekly affirmations that I get from my personalized coaching. I get those plans delivered weekly, and they come with 3 affirmations for me. So that is what I put in this space, and it has been working so much better for me. Whereas before, I felt like I was putting goals here, but I wasn't really committed to them. I was just kind of filling in a box. And so then it just made me feel kind of like me when I didn't get to them because I wasn't actually trying to do them. So the affirmations are working much better for me. In the to-dos, I list out all of my actual like goals, or not goals, but sorry, like plans, commitments, things that I have to attend. And I have a very busy week next week. Almost every day there is something, which helps me kind of visualize what's going on. And so that's how I knew when I did how I want to feel that we're going to have to make some space and set some boundaries because this week is busy. And then I usually try to come up with 3 very broad to-dos that kind of support those weekly affirmations there. You can decide to combine your to-dos and your weekly major 3 if that speaks to you. You can decide to connect multiple sections of your journal if that speaks to you. Over on the left-hand side, somebody decided to connect how they want to feel down into their major 3, over to the weekly to-dos, and then into the habits and activities. All of this flows together, and it's like, this is the intention, this is the focus, this is the goal, and this is how we're going to do it. So if you want to connect all of those things, if you want to connect some of those things, definitely go for it. There's some other examples over on the right here of kind of pairing those weekly 3 with the to-dos. But you also can leave these sections completely separate. And if you ever have a moment where one of the sections doesn't speak to you, you don't really want to use it, you don't have to. You can do something totally different. You can leave it blank. That is totally okay. You can put a sticker there. I always say if you put a sticker there that makes you smile, it is still serving a purpose. So feel free to stick those stickers. But you can definitely make these work for you however they need to. If you do have a super busy week ahead and you feel like you are not doing your to-do list is doing you, you might want to take a look at the Eisenhower decision matrix there in the top left and see about what your focus really needs to be this week. Remember, there's only 7 days in a week and you are only one person. And we sometimes have to ask for help, and that is okay. If you need help, if you need other resources, definitely ask for them. But don't over pile onto yourself, right? You are one person and you deserve to be rested and balanced and realistic. If you are seeing like you're writing the same things over and over again each week, like you're just not getting to them, you may want to try doing the Pomodoro technique where you like set a timer to work on a task for a certain amount of time. Sometimes getting started is just the hardest part, and that can help. You also do not have to be productivity focused at all. You can be completely mindset focused. You can lean into that enchantment theme, right? And think about that when you're setting up these areas. You can try doing like a to be list. You could maybe, if we think back to like our original prompt that we just did, maybe you want to lean into your senses this week, right? Like your sense of like taste, your sight, all of those things, and try to see if you can find enchantment in those different areas this week. So maybe you can carve out some space for that in one of these sections. I know that we've had some people that had some birthdays. Happy belated birthday. And we have some folks that have some birthdays coming up. If you have a birthday coming up, maybe do something fun. Do like a birthday bingo or an all about you bingo. Let yourself have fun and just celebrate yourself this week. It doesn't always have to be about all the to-dos. If you need to create some balance, think about an embrace and release or do's and don'ts. If you need to establish some new routines, I know lots of folks are going back to school either as teachers or you have kiddos as students going back to school, or maybe you're going back to school as a student yourself. And so maybe you need to check in with some of those routines and see if they need a little bit of a refresh. These can be good sections to try to figure those out and commit and try some different things. You can support that how you want to feel area that you just called out. You can use those affirmations or self-care like I'm doing in mine, or you absolutely, if you need to be productive, if you want those specific areas of focus, you can stick with that. But don't be afraid to switch it up. Like I said before, it's totally fine if one of these areas doesn't speak to you, isn't really showing itself as like a purpose. You can always leave it blank, or you can change it to something else. Some people like swap the goals in the to-dos section because they like to have the lines for the to-dos. So they literally just flip those areas. Some people do their to-dos over in like the meal plan section. So just because something has a title on it does not mean it has to be done for that specific purpose. So don't be afraid to move things around in whatever way suits you best. So I will go back through all of these slides for you all, and then we'll move into our next section together. All right, we're going to hop down to the bottom part of that same page in our habits and activities section. I'm continuing to repurpose this as a stress check-in section for myself. It has really helped me a lot. It's actually one of the things that pushed me to go right to the chiropractor, because since I check my muscle tension every day, I always have some sort of tension up in here. So like I literally have to like poke to figure out just how bad it is. But I've like very quickly realized like, oh, this is like very tense, not normal, like something's going on. So I'm going to continue to do that for myself. You can use this section in, again, whatever way works best for you. I mentioned earlier, maybe you want to lean into some different senses this week, thinking about that prompt now that we kind of know um, what kind of enchantment leaning into those senses and memories can bring. So maybe you want to focus on a different sense in each one of these little spots here. Or maybe you have a goal or other activity that you want to either set a goal for how many times you want to do it this week, or you can just track it as it comes up. You do not have to set a specific goal. If you do set a specific goal, you might try giving yourself a little reward if you meet that goal. That can be really motivating sometimes. This can also be a good area to try out different routines or to maybe stop doing something, or track how much you're not doing something or trying to do less of something. It's just another data point, another opportunity to kind of check in and track some things. You can also focus more on the activities side of things rather than the habits, because obviously we do have that monthly habit wheel at the front of the journal. So maybe you want to focus in on activities. I've got some new little things here that came from the Silk and Sonder Instagram. This slow down menu, maybe you want to incorporate that into some of these activities there. And then there's also screen-free hobbies to beat doom scrolling. August is often a busy time of the year for multiple reasons. And so, if you're anything like me, when things get busy, sometimes I end up on my phone a little bit more often than I would like to. So, maybe try leaning into some of those hobbies instead. You can also use this as a place to kind of keep track of like connections. Make sure you're checking on your people, your community, your friends, your family. Because again, when life gets busy, sometimes you don't remember to check in on people until it's like midnight. So this can be a good place to be intentional about this. You can also use this to be intentional with your journal. So in this section, right, this habits and activities section, asking yourself like, when was the last time I looked at my monthly intentions? Am I filling in my habit wheel? Am I doing my mood tracker? Am I engaging with my personalized coaching plan, right? Whatever it is that you're already doing in your journal, this can be a good place to just remind you of those different areas and things, and make sure that you're getting to the things that you want for yourself. So I'll put on another song for you all, and then we'll move into our next section together. All right, we're going to flip on over to page 41, starting in that section that is titled meal plan. So I repurpose this personally. I do like work meetings and things here, but I don't typically work on the weekends. So I've been trying out different things in that like Saturday, Sunday space. This week I decided to write a little letter to myself, a little love letter. So we'll see how that goes if I decide to keep that up or not. But if you use this as intended as the meal plan or meal tracker, that is totally great. You just do what works for you. If that aligns with your goals and your focuses, then you keep doing that. But if that doesn't align, or maybe you do that in a different place or a different space or a different app, then you can definitely repurpose this section to so many different things. The layout is large, it takes up a lot of space in your journal each week. But it's also just so good for so many things because you've got this individually carved out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. space. So it makes it really good for just a lot of things. Some folks do their affirmations here. Some people do journaling prompts. I saw in Sonder Club, somebody does like haikus here. Like I saw that as like their example. Like I said earlier, some people put their to-dos over here because they like to have that Monday through Friday space kind of carved out at a glance there. This can also be a great place to do journaling prompts, maybe that you come up with for yourself, maybe little daily ritual prompts here, or if you're checking in with that personalized coach, this can be a good space for that too. So I will once again put on a song for you all, and then we will move into our next sections together. All right, we are hopping on down, or I guess hopping across to the Mind Body Health Plan and the shopping list section. So you can use both of these as intended or switch them up. I see a lot of folks switching them up like in similar ways because the boxes are pretty similarly shaped. So I like to kind of do these together. Last week I did a little quote corner in my Mind Body Health section, where I just reflected on the little quote that's there at the top, and I really enjoyed that. So I did it again this week, and I liked that as well. So I may continue to do that for a while. My shopping list I use somewhat as intended. I put some of my shopping items and things on there because it helps me not impulse buy and also helps me not forget that I wanted the thing, which also helps me not impulse buy. And then I also do like a running list of longer to-dos underneath the little shopping item things. Kind of a similar thing. Like I have no intention of doing any of these projects this week, making any kind of progress there. But if I don't keep a running list of them, then when I go to actually try to do one, I might forget that it exists. So I just keep a running list. Here are some other ways that you can use these sections. As I mentioned, both of these are a popular repurpose because a lot of folks will use something else for their shopping list, like they already have an app or like a wish list on something else that they use for that. And then mind, body, health. I mean, so much of your journal is geared towards mind, body, health. So some folks don't necessarily need yet another section for it. So these are all the different ways that you might be able to repurpose that section, but you certainly can use it as intended. If you are somebody that is very physically active, you do a lot of different like physical fitness classes or things like that, this can be a good place to kind of carve out your plan and kind of wrap your head around your schedule for the week. Also, if you are going to make an actual plan, I always say make sure you're carving out time for rest. Rest is arguably the most important thing you can do for yourself because everything else that we do requires the energy we get from rest. And there are 7 types of rest. So if you're getting a lot of sleep but are still feeling tired, one, check in with your doctor, right? There could be something going on. But two, you may actually need a different type of rest. So check in with those 7 types of rest and maybe see if you need to lean into another one of those areas. Here are some more examples of how you can make this space work for you. This is a great spot for a little mini bingo. I like the little one good thing where they're just going to list out one good thing for each day there. You've got that Monday through Sunday option to kind of help with some of those things. If there's anything you do on a weekly basis, whether it's spend time with scripture or pull tarot cards, or maybe this is where you want to do like a reflection on your affirmations. Any of those things can be a good spot here. So once again, I will put on some music for you all and I'll go back through all of these slides and then it'll be time for us to wrap up our time together. It always goes by so fast. Thank you all so much for spending some of your weekend here with us today and hopefully getting ready for the week ahead. As we close out our time together, if you want to share something that you love, as always, we would love to hear it. I am currently loving having the window open. It's not quite spicy enough outside just yet, so I can open the window and it feels really lovely right now, and the cats are enjoying it. And as always, we have loved all of our time here with all of you. So thank you so much for being here. If you feel comfortable sharing your pages from your weekly planner, we would love to see those either in Sonder Club, or if you feel comfortable sharing on Instagram, you can tag at Silk and Sonder and they will be happy to take a look at them there as well. You heard me talk about the personalized coach a couple of times here in the weekly setup because I do use it every single week to get ready for my week and in between. Having that little 24/7 chat in my pocket with my coach is it's been a game changer in a lot of ways. So if you're interested in learning more, we will pop some links in the chat for you all. I will also share my playlist with you all. As always, it's just my giant Mecha Master Sonder Social list. So there's all kinds of songs in there. Feel free to find one that you like that speaks to you, and make your own playlist and things. But thank you all so much for being here with all of us today. It's so nice to spend this time in community together. And until next time, be good to each other, and we'll see you all in Sonder Club.
You think you need a body next to you to keep you warm and safe and bulletproof. Guess you got comfy in the crazy, cozy in the hazy. Lies started sounding like truth. You're feeling stuck inside this vicious loop where codependence like it's super glue. So scared to face all of the changes. You're nothing but anxious. Really, what do you have to lose? Somewhere deep inside your soul, still that child you used to know. Might be wounded, you're not broke. Listen, listen close. Who told you you were hard to love? Hard to love. Who told you you weren't good enough? Good enough. Who broke your heart and made you believe that you won't be anything without her? Watch out, I'm broken down. Who stole all of your happiness? Happiness. Who almost pushed you off the edge? Off the edge. Don't need their arms to make you complete. Don't take a genius to see that you are. Baby, you are more than enough. You're more than enough, than enough. So raise a glass to all the baby steps, for not giving up when you were scared to death. You've been through hell and high water, you're coming out stronger. Exhale, take a deep